That is a view of the world, okay? The version of you that is going to be a multimillionaire trader, well, that's not in this box. It's not there. You're not in this box. That is impossible to become a multimillionaire trader from that version of how you see the world, from all the old patterns, right? The things that have gone wrong, the things that have gone right, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the things that have led you to seeing the world this way. Well, what we need to do, or what you need to do, listening, everybody, is you need to understand that this is a muscle and get pumping, right? We need to grow a badass version. The version of you that steps onto the day of the race of the Olympic athletes, right? Running that gold medal, is not the version of you that was sleeping, right? It's not the version of you that was going on a date.
Welcome to the Mindset by Design podcast with your host, the expert Andy Murphy, where you will learn the tips, tricks, and strategies he teaches his world-class clients to give you the skills to dominate any business.
What's going on, Mindset by Design crew, and welcome to episode 342. Hope you're amazing as always. I really do. Do you know what? Today, calling all traders. This is the episode for you. It really, really is. I'm pumped. We are launching right here, right now, the Genius Trader Club. The Genius Trader Club. This is, I promise you, the premier mental training system for traders that exists on earth. There is nothing else like this. It's at a crazy discount price. You should go and buy it. And yeah, that's it. Go and buy it. It's gonna. If you're an amateur thinking about being a trader, or you're kicking ass and you're a full-time pro, this is going to take your game to a whole new level. I guarantee it, right? This is 20 years of knowledge of how to train your brain using NLP, neuroscience, behavioral psychology to be able to do what? Step into your best day trading every single day. Right? It doesn't just happen by accident, right? You didn't just learn to trade just by accident either. It takes practice. It takes pumping that routine, that muscle, that mind muscle, right? To get to see the patterns of the trade, the algorithms, how to use these things. And there was a day or a week or a month or a year that you were just in flow, on fire. Man, you know it. Well, what would happen if you could have that level of belief? Have that level of focus, have that level of clarity, have that level of discipline with your trades, know when to exit, know when to go in. You've done all your research and you're there and you know it's right. What would happen if you could trust yourself every time? Yeah, game changing, right? And that's what the Genius Trader is all about. And today is cool. It's cool. It's actually a clip from an interview I did, which I'm starting to launch this the Genius Trader through a friend of mine who was actually a client years ago. And his name is Cam Hawkins. He runs the Trading Nuts podcast. It's got a big following on YouTube, big following, all over the place. He interviews some of the top traders in the world, and we teamed up to be able to make sure that we can help, especially in today's times. More than ever, this is needed. Especially with trading. Trading has become such a buzz. Everybody's jumped on this new generation, have jumped on the bandwagon. And because, they see that it creates freedom. They see that they can take their life into their own hands. And that's what I'm all about, is that word, freedom. And anything I can do to be able to make sure that people perform at their absolute best in every capacity, then what that means is then you're able to help your family. You're able to create that freedom, that travel. You're able to do whatever you want. And that's the point. You're stepping out of society in that 9-to-5 world, and you're stepping into a entrepreneurial mindset, an entrepreneurial world. And that, guess what? it's a whole different world. It's a whole different game. And you best be fine-tuning your brain like you were going to, if you treated yourself like a professional athlete, right? That's the way. If you treat your business who you are as a professional athlete, they have a certain level of discipline. They take the highs and the lows and they learn from it. They're constantly visualizing. They're constantly working on their unconscious mind as well as their practical mind, right? So that's the skill set and the mindset. And that's what I want to be able to help you with right now. I mean, it might have felt like I was pitching, but I'm not. If you jump into this, that's your choice. But this is the premier training that exists, bar none. And so what I want to do today is I want to show you a clip of the episode that I recorded with Cam that's just being launched on his brand right now, because we're going to help each other, because his audience definitely is booming and wants this. And guess what? If you're listening to this, then you're here for a reason. So go and check that out. There's actually, besides this episode that we're doing, the podcast, you can go and watch the full episode on Cam's. I'll put the link out. But I also want you to understand there is actually a 45-minute training that is on the website. So you can go and watch that training. It's going to show you behind the scenes. It's going to show you exactly what the contents is of this badass course. And it's going to show you the community, and it's going to show you everything that you need. So you can go right now to thegeniustrader.club. It's the Genius Trader Club, and you can be a part of this right now. We've got a Telegram group, which means that we can interact perfectly. The course is beautiful. It's full HD. It's badass. We're going to drop you into brainwaves. We're going to tune you up. So it's not just talking and talking. No, it's back-to-back knowledge, and that's what I want to give to you. I want to make sure that you've got an overall mental control, because if you control your mind, you control your emotions. You control your emotions, you control that genius version of you that's trading each day. Therefore, you control your results. And that's what I want to give into your hands, okay? So if you're not a trader and you're listening to this, listen to it anyway, because trading to me is entrepreneurism. And entrepreneurism means it's a lot of the same skills, you know. Now we're niching in very specifically for trading, but at the end of the day, it's the same skills, right? So let's get into this. I want you to hit the show notes. There's many other things I got with Ryan. You know, we've got the Radical Formula. We've been recording video right now. It's for about a week and a half. It's been so much fun. We got the 8-Figure Thinker ready to launch. Genius Trader Club is now, which I'm so pumped about. So it's all coming together. And the thing is, I'm just here to help you, man. I've done this for 20 years with the best in the world, and I just want to give you that knowledge so you can share it and do whatever you want with it, you know? So, shall I shut up? Yeah, I'll shut up and jump into this episode, and I will see you at the end of the show. But remember, right here, right now, either hit the show notes, find the links, or go to thegeniustrader.club and get started right now. Enjoy, and I will see you at the end of the show.
All right, folks, here we are on Trading Up. We've got Andy Murphy in the house. Now, those of you that don't know, Andy's been working with me for a long time. And in fact, if you've been listening to the show, you'll know that I've kept teasing this thing called the Genius Trader. Now, Andy is actually the mastermind behind the whole Genius Trader thing. You're going to find out a bit about that today, as well as Andy's story and a whole lot of stuff around how you can improve your mindset as a trader, which is what the Genius Trader is all about. So, Andy, welcome to the show.
Hey, buddy. I'm pumped. I'm pumped to be here. This is going to be a blast. You know what I mean? We've known each other for so long now, and I've not been on your show before. I watched this show develop. I watched it appear. But so I'm blessed to be here. I appreciate it, mate. And we're going to have some fun today. It's going to be cool.
And just so you guys have got some context here, so Andy's been with me since before Trading Nut started. So just before Trading Nut started, and I've been trying to get him on the show, and we finally managed to get him on, and we got something like really special for you guys as well. So to start off, Andy, let's introduce you to the audience here and the listeners, the viewers. Who are you? Where'd you come from? And what are you doing here in this trading podcast / YouTube channel?
Yeah, this crazy world of trading and entrepreneurism, right? Well, I'm Andy Murphy. I'm a mental performance expert and trainer and, everything else, performer. And I've done this for 19 years, working with 7, 8-figure entrepreneurs plus, ranging from who? Man, everyone from Saudi Arabian royalty to NBC stars to world champion athletes to some of the top traders in the world, people going through IPO, startups, special force commandos, anyone you can imagine, Hollywood actors and all the rest of it. And the crazy thing about this, Cam, is that I've done this for 19 years, but over the past 5 years maybe, it's really the coaching industry is blowing up, and it's cool. I'm glad it is, but there's a few challenges with that, mate, right? People are full of BS and they don't know what they're talking about. And what happens is there's been a lot of fluff pumped out in the world these days. And I think that's one of the main reasons that me and you got together with this, is because we need to set this straight, mate. There's so much cheesy people out there. And really what's happened is marketers have come along and found a niche or a niche. Hey, we speak the same language, niches, right? Not niches. Yeah. We speak the same language, but they come along and they found a niche, and they've basically trained everyday people how to market themselves as very high-level coaches. Now, there's a problem with that, right? They've become brilliant marketers, but they really don't understand anything about the brain and the chemicals, how everything we fire together, we wire together. They don't really understand how to create peak performance. But when you've done this for 19 years and you've been a top performer in the world yourself, and you've looked into the brains of thousands and thousands and thousands of people, you kind of know what works and kind of know what doesn't, And that's why I'm pumped to jump onto your show, and I'm pumped to get involved in this whole community. Why? Because we're here to tell some truth, mate. We're here to put some fires out. We're here to actually expose what works and what doesn't work. And that's really, that's why I'm here, mate. And for 19 years, I've done this. And as I say, I've watched the coaching industry change, but I've also watched the trading industry change. And it's been wild. I've been around traders for years, but how many years do you think it's been since really people got hold of it? Because people were doing Forex and obviously stocks and options and trading before that. But now the crypto world's come in, man. It's got a different thing, right? Yeah.
And look, it's a different kind of audience as well, and it's a different kind of person from your typical Forex / stock trader. So I think everyone's quite different in terms of how they approach it. And even like some guys who would, are in the crypto space, for example, aren't necessarily trading it. And I'm sort of, thinking about some of my friends even, they're in there looking at the purely sort of the hype and the fundamentals and hoping everything's going to go up. And they're not sort of trading or haven't got any understanding of how the markets actually work. So in a way, they're a little bit susceptible to being manipulated or being conned out of some money for whatever reason. So I mean, it's an interesting time, and there's a lot of people jumping in this into this space at the moment. Now, the reason we sort of got you on the show here was to find out like how can traders, I suppose, improve their mindset and get to become a sort of peak performer in the trading space. And I know that when I interview guests, they basically say, hey, look, here's my strategy. Anyone can do the strategy, but it's 80%, 70% mindset. And everyone ignores that, and everyone goes, yeah, but what's the strategy? And thinks they can just sort of apply the strategy and make it work. And it is, and I can trust me, I've been through all the pain. It is mindset, and like a lot of the techniques you've taught me over the years have helped improve my mindset and got me in a better space. So to start off with, I suppose, do you want to talk to us about some of the issues that these guys might be facing that we can potentially overcome?
Absolutely. I look at it this way. There's two ways we can look at this. I take the word trading out the way, first of all, right? Everyone talks trading, everyone wants to be a trader, right? But take the word trader out the way and look at it as an entrepreneur. That's really what traders are. It's just that's the skill set that they're learning, right? It's trading, right? But you're an entrepreneur. And the reason people become entrepreneurs is what? Well, we don't want to listen to the establishment. We want freedom. You know what I mean? We want to be able to play by our own rules. We want to be able to travel wherever we want. And we want to be able to look after our family and friends, no matter what is going on. That's why you're an entrepreneur. That's why people start trading, right? It's an avenue. But really, the best way to explain to everyone, because most people, they want to be entrepreneurs or want to be traders. And that means they got the foot and dip the toe in the water and then have a title, right? They call it a title. Okay, I'm a trader now. But the truth is to be a successful anything requires a lot of work. It really does. There's no get-rich-quick schemes with this. I know people see on TikTok and Instagram and all the rest of it, look, this guy's done this. Look, they're just lucky. It doesn't mean they're a professional. It doesn't mean it's going to be consistent. But really, when you look at that, the difference between skill set and mindset, right? And that's the big thing. And that's what you spoke about then, the 80-20 rule, really, you know? But when you understand this, right, what's taught out there in the entrepreneurial space and in the trading space is really what? It's skill set, right? Do you have to have a good skill set? Absolutely. But if we looked at it like this, like an Olympic athlete, and I always go back to athletes, I've worked with so many, and I don't need to motivate an athlete who's heading towards a gold medal in the Olympics. I don't need to motivate them, right? What I need to do is tweak their thinking so they become bulletproof mentally on their journey. Well, that's the same with this, right? So you could, like someone who's won gold medal, for example, do you think there's a massive difference in their skill set between the person who comes number one and the person who comes number 6? No, probably of course not. No, we're talking milliseconds, right? Milliseconds. There's not much difference in the skill set. Now, someone might have better mechanics or things like that. But at the end of the day, there's not much difference. So what is the difference once you have achieved that skill set? The way you think, right? It's like, for example, no one sees behind the scenes with an Olympic athlete. So you don't know what training sessions have been horrible. You don't know what injuries they've gone through. You don't know what sleepless nights, sickness, and all the races they've lost, they've won, all the way up to the day of the event. And then you don't know what's happened the night before, the morning before, they're about to start the race. You don't know what's happening with their family, their friends, their life. You have no idea what's going on. All you see is them crossing the finish line and getting the gold medal put around the neck, which gets what? Put on social media. That's what gets put around social media. Everyone's like, I can do that. I can do that. Well, you probably can do that, right? But that's the difference that makes someone a world champion and makes someone forgettable. Understand? Skill set. Once everyone's got the same level of skill set, the difference is how your brain is wired. Understand that, right? So when we start to understand that the brain truly is like a muscle, and the study behind that, the neuroscience study, is called neuroplasticity, okay? But the brain is malleable, it's changeable. But when we understand that the version of you who you were before, right, before you started trading, or the level of success you had at trading, right, that's a version of you. And if you imagine that as a bubble, okay, that's a bubble of you, a bubble of neural nets, a bubble of mind muscle, whatever you want to call it, it's a bubble. It thinks, feels, and acts a certain way about themselves, money, the future, the discipline of trading, and the algorithms, you know what I mean? Who you are around money in the past. You get the idea. That is a view of the world, okay? The version of you that is going to be a multimillionaire trader, well, that's not in this box. It's not there. You're not in this box. That is impossible to become a multi-millionaire trader from that version of how you see the world, from all the old patterns, right? The things that have gone wrong, the things that have gone right, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the things that have led you to seeing the world this way. Well, what we need to do, or what you need to do, listening, everybody, is you need to understand that this is a muscle and get pumping, right? We need to grow a badass version. The version of you that steps onto the day of the race of the Olympic athletes, right? Running that gold medal, is not the version of you that was sleeping, right? It's not the version of you that was going on a date or relaxing. No, that's a highly trained version of you that has systems, routines, perspective, beliefs, values, language patterns, right? Chemicals that are being produced around the body and the brain. That version is like raring to go. That's the version that steps in to that race day and wins that race. Why would people think that's different to when you trade every day? It's not. It's the same thing. Who you were will not get you to where you want to go. Who you become on the journey to get there is who will get you those millions of dollars. But people don't see that. And that's the biggest challenge in this industry right now. And that's why me and you are like, come on, wake up, people. Understand that if you want to make money at this, if you want to be successful at this, if you want the freedom that you came here for, guess what's not going to happen? Oh, I'll do some TikTok or some the odd random YouTube video. I'll get that and I'll put that in and expect to become a millionaire. Doesn't work like that, right? So that's the biggest thing people have got to understand. Your brain works like a muscle. The way you see your future, your past, money, that individual trade, everything isn't just random. No, it's predetermined. It's built in design. Does that make sense, first of all, Cam?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's sort of raised a few questions on my side. Like, I mean, one is that, if you talk about, everyone wants to be an entrepreneur and get that freedom and be able to look after their family or whatever it is in their life that they need to be able to pay for without, having to rely on someone else. But a lot of these people listening are probably in jobs, working for somebody else. Yeah. How hard would it be for somebody to go from that job, 9 to 5 space all the way to an entrepreneur / trading for a living from a mindset point of view? I mean, what are we talking here? Are we talking sort of, complete overhaul or how can you sort of give the guys who are listening some sort of, hope or pathway so that they can get from that potential way of thinking or that box that they're in to this other box?
Totally. I love it. It's a badass question, mate. I love it. And what you find is again, that's a very common thing, especially right now in the world, right? Especially right now. There's so many people want to get out of the 9 to 5 or corporate jobs and move into something that's independent. So look at it this way, right? Is it a massive mindset shift? Enormous. Guess what? Most people won't become successful. Guess what? Most people won't win. But that doesn't mean you. It means you can do something different. If everybody was successful at everything they tried, then what's the point in even doing it? Because there'd be no profits. If everyone became a world-class trader, then there'd be no world-class money, right? Because everyone could do it. So the people that understand that there is a massive learning curve to go through. But here's the difference. That's painful. Most people won't even get to level 1, right? But if you understand that there's a growth strategy or growth area which everyone's going to go through in every area of every parts of life, including the job that you're just used to doing. If we understand that that's going to be this big curve, but we're going to understand it, know it, and then we're going to work through it and get to that point where you just become something called an unconscious competent. And what that means is where we just we do the job automatically. Just like the people in the 9 to 5 world over here doing what their job they're doing is automatic. It's just becomes simple and obvious, right? Well, guess what? That didn't just appear. No, they practiced every day to get that skill. Well, guess what? It's the same with the journey of how to think like an entrepreneur. Another way to look at this, Cam, is a concept from the Genius Trader, is a consumer versus an investor. Okay, and this is something I've taught for many, many years. And this is probably the biggest shift or change that people have to make right now, right? They really have to make this right now to be able to become successful. And the consumer, well, think about that, man, right? Think about what that means. A consumer is somebody that does what? Well, they consume, right? They use their time, effort, and energy, which is what I call currency. It's not money when we're talking about the brain and moving forward. It's time, effort, and energy. Those are three things you can never get back. You can never, ever get back. Money, man, you can earn more money. Money will just keep coming and going and coming and coming and coming, right? But time, effort, and energy, you can't ever get back. You can't ever get back yesterday. That's the thing. This is why this is important for you to really understand, so we can take action together. Because the consumer does what? Time, effort, and energy. Well, those are the people that click on the Facebook ads, not create the Facebook ads, right? Those are the people that will go for a coffee with somebody that they don't like, but in their head they're going, oh, I know I should do this because that person could open this door for me. But they go away and then they come back and go, oh, I wish I didn't have done that. I just wasted my whole day, right? These are consumers. These giving it away to negative emotions, to shiny object syndrome, to doubt, to fear, to the past, to trauma. Those are the people, the consumers, that just keep giving that energy away, right? And that's what happens in the corporate space, because you're not allowed to make decisions. And that's what people are craving inside, is to be independent, to be in charge of their own life. But in the corporate world, you can't do that. You have a brilliant idea. What happens? Manager, can I do this? No. Do your job. It's like, wow. Okay, yeah, but it's brilliant. Yeah, but I'm not allowed. Do your job. Fall back into the ranks, right? Consumer, giving your energy away. That's why people stay in relationships they hate for 30 years, or a job they hate for 30 years, right? But the opposite is an investor. And that's what everyone needs to switch into. And I don't just mean in trading, I mean in life, man. Because an investor is what I call someone who really values their time, effort, and energy. What does that mean? Well, do you know that life is finite? It's not going to be around forever. That's the truth, right? That's the truth. Life's not going to be around forever. So we've got to give it everything we've got. And what does an investor do? An investor invests their time, effort, and energy, and always gets a ROI, a return on their investment. But it's because these people value their skills, value their brain, value the preciousness of each moment, that they know that if they give it everything they've got, they're going to eventually win. That's an investor, right? A consumer can't see millions of dollars. They don't really know what that's like. They want it, but they don't understand what that's like. An investor gives it everything they've got, making sure that every book they read, every movie that they watch, every TV program, everything that they do is dedicated to them growing into the way they want their lives to be. That's it, man. And so the biggest thing there, if we can shift from consumer to investor, then guess what? We take charge of our life and we get that freedom, man. You know, I'm going on a rant, Cam, only because I'm passionate.
And it makes sense. And it's a great answer to the question of, you know, if you're in a job, that's your barrier from, you know, for making it as a trader, especially if you're in a job. Sure. Now, the other thing I've sort of heard over the course of, you know, many years is that for people to make that shift, usually they need to get some sort of massive amount of pain or suffering that they have to deal with to then finally sort of come out of this sort of, you know, wake up or whatever, to get to the point where they're like, okay, now I sort of get it. I mean, does everyone have to go through that, or is it, how do they get to that otherwise?
It's kind of an interesting question, right? It's very a true statement. It doesn't have to be that. It's a very true statement that people don't really make change until they are forced to make change. Well, that's true. The brain works in a very specific way. Its default setting of the unconscious mind is to always keep people safe. That's really what's going on. So when we understand the amygdala or the fight or flight response or the actual just the unconscious mind, it wants to keep you safe. So it does that by finding things that it feels certain about, that are in its comfort zone, right? It's the box. And because anything outside that box, well, guess what? We can't, unconsciously, we're not in control of it. We don't know what's happening, right? So inside the box, although the box might suck bad, it doesn't matter. There's a comfort level to understanding what's going to happen each day. Although we don't really know what's happening each day, anything can happen. But that's what people believe unconsciously. So to take a leap of faith and do something brand new, that is a huge shift, right? It's a huge, huge shift. So do people need to feel pain to make movement? No. Do people generally make movement from feeling pain? Yes, they do. But the other side of it is, well, why? Well, why? Stop being weak. Understand this is your life. Go after it. Is the world not painful enough for people right now? Do you know what I mean? The only people that are going to make it through this, truly make it through this and thrive, are the wealthy. The poor are going to get hurt in this time. For the next few years, they're going to get hurt. If you're wealthy, and I don't necessarily mean millions, but why not? It's a case of you have choices. You know what I mean? You have choices to do what you want. Oh, they won't let you in somewhere? Fly private, right? Well, most people can't do that. But if you were a multimillionaire, you could. And so should people feel pain? No. Because you should be more excited about your new life, your new future. You should be so pumped up, man, about being in that next stage of life. Not, oh, I've got to stop this. Well, where's your focus, right? And if truly our brain consciously can only focus on about 3 to 5 things maximum at once, one thing truly, but 3 to 5 things before it becomes overloaded, okay? So if your focus is on what you can't do, oh, I'm stuck in this job, the money sucks, right? Oh, I can't because I got kids, this and this. Where's your focus is all taken up, right? But if what focus was on investor, change, right? Investor over here going, you know what? I know this works. I'm going to give it everything I've got. Do you know what? I know I've got to study my ass off. Do you know what? I know that the motivator behind it is my family and my freedom. You know what else? Ding, 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 whatever it is for that person. If we can understand that we focus on what we want or what we don't want, either way, the brain is going to build and replicate what patterns are inside of it to lead you towards that destination. So why wouldn't we shoot for the stars, right? Why wouldn't we design what we want? Why wouldn't we put the work, effort, and energy in? Or what? Watch Netflix and go and have some beers and everyone else is in the same situation years later. But no, you can change this, man. It's a whole different world. You know, does that answer it, Cam?
Yeah. It does. It does. So I mean, it sounds like you can get through this without having the pain by just doing a few other different things consciously.
Mate,
consciously sort of saying I'm going to make a change. It's not going to probably happen as rapidly as the pain, but I suppose the pain's going to take a while to get over anyway. Now, another thing I'm interested in, and so like a lot of the guys I have on the show are traders who teach people how to trade,
right.
And they often have like a mindset part of their training material or course. I mean, what from your point of view can you see as being a downside of somebody who's obviously overcome their trading issues with certain perhaps mindset, changing their mindset somehow, versus trying to offload that onto somebody else who may not have the same sort of, well, they're definitely not going to be the same person to start off with, but they're sort of like, well, this is what worked for me, here's what will probably work for you, but they may not have the skills to try and implement that into the person so that they can actually apply it and make it happen and see the change. Have you got any sort of view on these coaches that have got, or trading coaches that have got mindset parts of their courses and the potential downside of those?
Totally. It's a great question. It's one of the key things. We've actually covered that in the webinar, the training, which is really cool because it's you're right. I mean, it doesn't, just because someone's an expert trader doesn't mean they're an expert in mental performance, right? And what does that mean? It's like, I suppose it's like looking at martial arts has been a huge part of my whole life. So I always go back to martial arts. But white belt, black belt, right? White belt, black belt. And now the white belt and the black belt can be both doing the same sequence of moves, right? Training, doing a combination, shadow boxing, whatever it is, right? They're both doing exactly the same thing. So the white belt is doing the same thing as the black belt. So the white belt thinks he knows what the black belt knows, right? Because small amount of knowledge, black belt, big amount of knowledge, but doing very small things. So that white belt thinks they know what the black belt knows, okay? But the white belt can never know what the black belt knows. The black belt understands exactly what the white belt is doing, but the white belt can never know what the black belt is doing until you've got to that level, right? Through years of training. Now, a blue belt, we'll go through a different one. The trader, the high-end trader could be a blue belt, could be a black belt trader, but a blue belt in understanding mental performance. So they have a few little tactics that work for them, okay? So they work for them. Does it mean they know everything a black belt knows? Far, far from it. But they've got a few tactics that the hook and jab, they knew a few moves, right? So they teach that to the white belt, and then guess what? The white belt uses those moves. But they don't work all the time. They don't work in different circumstances. They don't have mental control. That's the problem. So when people are black belt traders or blue belt or brown belt traders teaching that the black belt traders, that they don't really have all these skills. They don't understand about the unconscious mind. They don't really understand about brain chemicals. They don't know how to switch into flow states. They don't know how to change filter systems. They don't know how to basically catch and break a pattern when you're in a negative loop around a trade and how to bounce back. They don't really know that. They just know what worked for them. So I'm a black belt. I am actually a black belt, but a black belt also in mental performance. So no matter what's going on, I've seen it 1,000 times. So when I can look at this trading world and then go take all of my millions of tactics and then put them into this little space over here of trading, then you have an encyclopedia of knowledge. You have a blueprint of exactly what to do under any circumstances to be able to have something, what I call mental control. We'll talk about neuro-conditioning, which is my system, in a few moments, but that's what we want to give you. We want to give you mental mastery. I'm not here to teach you or train you. This is what me and Cam discussed before all of this. We're not here to teach you these little tactics and strategies. I'm here to teach you how to get control over your brain and life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because you know how to build mental patterns. You know how to interrupt patterns. You know how to step into pre-designed peak states. You know how to, it goes on, right? That's the difference. Black belt, white belt. Does that make sense, Cam, or am I ranting again?
Yeah, no, it does. It does. It just reminded me of something I think I heard from you a while ago, and I tried it out at home because we were like, two kids going to school, young kids. It was always a nightmare. And your tip was, and this was just a bit around sort of changing the home environment, was like get some music going, some upbeat music in the morning, and see what happens. And I did it for, I think the first week I did it, and it was crazy. The kids singing and everything, they were like running out the door. And I was like, instead of us fighting at that and struggling, it was so good to see that sort of immediate effect with just a simple little technique like that.
So, crew, there we go. The end of episode 342. So, we can go on. You can go listen to the full episode on the Trading Nut podcast and YouTube channel. Just type it in, I'll bob up. And also, you could just go straight to the geniustrader.club and watch the full training I give there. Do you know what? It's all about giving you the power again. When everybody around you might have taken it away or tried to take it away, society has tried to take it away. The pressure, the fear, the circumstances, that's not what we're here about, right? We're here to really live an amazing life and do what you want. Do what you want. And this is about giving you the control back. And that's what the Genius Trader Club is all about. And that's what I'm all about in all of my products, all of my systems, and all of my services. And I just want to help, man. I just want to help. And so please go over to the geniustrader.club, go and watch the webinar, but just grab it. It's at a wild discounted price right now. Wild. It's going to be quadrupled within the next 90 days. So I want you to get this awesome bonus. So the geniustrader.club, head over there, or you can head over to the show notes right now, depending on what platform you're on. There are, different ways to get to them. But then, yeah, let's do this. Let's make 2022 the best year of your life. And let's start today. So enjoy, much love. And until I see you again, have an amazing week. And oh yeah, one more thing. Why don't you smile for me?
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode of the Mindset by Design podcast with your host and NLP expert, Andy Murphy. We'll catch you next time.